Thank you, Archbishop. I think before I begin, there's going to be a short video that's going to be playing.
So this is the target establishment. First suspect, view for our victims.
And remember, if there's a hazard or dangerous situation, move yourself to a position of comfort.
Chief, how did you go over to the police?
We saw about 1,200 little kids and found out that they were in fact trafficked and they were in fact slaves. These little kids are on this boat. They are not fed. They are abused beyond imagination.
We gotta catch him up.
This is the girl. Whenever something like this comes, I imagine in my mind that girl is found.
We have operations all over the world, rescuing people from slavery. Because today there are criminals who abuse children, sell girls.
How old is she? 12. 12? How much? 30? Yeah, I'm afraid.
And force families into slavery. Criminals prey on the easiest target, the world's poor, because they expect no one to defend them.
Pareho po tayong mga tao. Hindi po tayo bagay or hayop na pwedeng gamitin lang sa pansarili.
But today, there are thousands of people gathering to seek justice for those in slavery. We are a group of lawyers, counselors, activists, and supporters. We are called International Justice Mission. And together, we form the largest international anti-slavery organization in the world. But slavery won't come to an end until criminals know they can't get away with it. So we partner with local police to arrest and prosecute criminals. This sends a message to slave owners. We will not go away. We stay with the survivors until they are healed, until they are free.
Natulungan po ako ng IJM sa pamamagitan po na sa case ko, sa pagtulong po nila na ma-overcome ko po yung fear.
Each year, we rescue thousands of slaves and protect millions around the world. We are transforming how justice systems protect their citizens. To those who are still enslaved, we promise to find you. We will get you home to your families so you can have the freedom you deserve.
Great, thank you. Last year, Oh, great. Last year I spoke of my work with the International Justice Mission that you saw a clip of just there, where I was in the Philippines and helping to prosecute traffickers who traffic children in the sex trade. Now I'm a lawyer working for a global law firm in London. My law firm is one of the 10 largest law firms in the world. They do business in every corner of the globe, and they're frequently instructed on some of the world's most complex corporate mandates. But why does that matter to you? It matters because they also give over 56,000 free lawyer hours every year to charities like IJM, and that's worth a bit over $23 million. What they found out over the course of their nearly 300-year history is that lawyers want to do more than just earn money. They want to do more than just win the most complex cases or sign the biggest deals, because there is this hunger in the corporate world for more, for actual meaning. No one disputes that all of us here have a deep desire for connection with those who suffer. But we must also know that that same desire, that same dormant compassion lies deep down, dormant, within the hearts of those who work for the world's largest law firms and the world's largest investment banks. Because both the NGO worker, perhaps like you and me, and also the corporate lawyer are both made in the image of the God that we love. Increasingly, I'm finding it my challenge to reimagine how we as a group here can engage the corporate world and ask them to join us in the fight to end slavery. Because I firmly believe that we will only end slavery if we work together. At IJM, we now have over 1,300 alumni, people like me who have worked on the front lines of counter-trafficking, prosecuting traffickers, counseling victims, orchestrating sting operations. And now all of those people are back in their host countries, and they're all doing different kinds of work, and many of them are now corporate lawyers. My role now is to re-engage with these alumni and to see how they would like to re-engage with the work of counter-trafficking, and more importantly, to see how they would like to engage their law firms to join the fight to end slavery. So far, we've had some really encouraging results. In our first year alone, we've now secured 2 formal partnerships with 2 global law firms. And this has led to the completion of 3 projects, both of them, all 3 of them being focused on the eradication of the cybersex industry in the Philippines, and then also the police abuse of power in East Africa. And these projects have contributed over 300 free hours of work, of lawyers' time, that's worth a bit over $100,000. And we're just getting started. But why are we doing this? A few reasons that I would say very briefly. Firstly, because law firms and NGOs need each other. Law firms have lots of money, and they have lots of lawyers who are eager to get involved in the work of counter-trafficking. They don't have experience of counter-trafficking on the ground. NGOs have experience of counter-trafficking on the ground, but they don't have lots of money, and they don't have lots of human resources, and the two are a brilliant fit. We're doing this so that we can bring the issue of slavery into the minds of working professionals all over the world. We're seeing this recently in the UK with the passing of the Modern Slavery Act, which you referenced earlier. And this is a piece of legislation that requires UK companies to report on what they're doing to ensure that slavery doesn't exist in any of the supply chains. I think we're also doing this because the end of slavery necessitates a global movement. Global law firms have the ability, the power in their hands to massively increase the capacity of local NGOs like IJM, like the NGOs that you work for, massively increase their ability to prosecute traffickers on a global scale, because these global law firms are exactly what it says. They are global. They have offices everywhere. If we're serious about ending slavery, we must work to leverage this power, because we will only end slavery together. Sometimes when I'm in London and I'm traveling on the crammed underground train and it's raining and it's cold, and I look around and I look in the faces of the people that I work with, and people don't seem to really be enjoying life in the same way that they would be in the tropics, say in the Philippines where the sun is shining the whole time. Sometimes I look around and I look at London's workforce, and although they're one of the wealthiest in the world, they are seen at times so disconnected from a heart of compassion. And sometimes I can get quite down about that. But then I'm reminded of what God says to Ezekiel when he shows Ezekiel this valley of dead corpses, a valley of very dry bones. And he says to Ezekiel, Ezekiel, can these bones live? And he asks Ezekiel to prophesy over these bones. And he says to these bones, come together, may flesh and tendons appear on you, may skin cover you, may you be alive and living. And Ezekiel speaks these words over these bones, and they raise up. And they're no longer dead corpses, they're no longer dry bones, but they raise up to be this vast army, living, breathing, and alive. Often in London, I do look around and I think, can we do this? Are these just dry bones? But I'm reminded of this passage, and I really believe that they aren't dry bones, that they are actually a vast living army, just waiting to be mobilized. Where once I saw tired eyes and grey suits, I now see a vast army. The movement to end slavery is a team effort. It's one that necessitates the rousing of sleeping giants and the raising of vast armies. From the church, from the NGO sector, but the one thing I want to bring to you today is it's also from the corporate sector that this army must be raised. Because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Because we will only end slavery if we work together. Thanks.